Jane from Zip Ziggles, and we are going to color Rusty Rivet characters. So, you're going to have to get your crayons and your colored pencils ready, and make sure you ask your parents to print out the free getcoloringpages.com coloring page for Rusty Rivets. They're free and they're really easy to print out. So go ahead, get your coloring pages ready, because today we're going to be coloring Ruby and Rusty. Let's get coloring.
Okay, so the first thing that we need is a smooth surface that our parents allow us to use. Then we lay down our coloring page. Make sure to grab a little bit of tape so we can tape down the coloring page so it doesn't move while we're actually coloring. Do it like this. There, that looks good. Now, I'm going to use my colored pencils. I have a box of 50 from Crayola, but you can use any type of crayon, marker, or any coloring pencils that you might have. Look at all these colors. Let's go ahead and start with Ruby. I'm going to pull out all the browns that I have in my box to see which ones will work best for her hair and her skin tone. That looks good. Let's go ahead and start with her hair. Now remember, kids, you guys can color her hair any color you would like. You can be zippy creative at any time. Don't worry about staying within the lines. This is your drawing. Make it as creative as you want. Do you remember the episode with Rusty Rescue? That was an awesome episode. I remember when Liam brought his Tyrannosaurus Ralph out to play in the junkyard, when Ruby and Rusty were trying to work on the Kick-O-Matic. Liam ended up walking away with Bites, and he decided to throw his toy so Bites could go get it. Little did he realize he threw it way too high, all the way up on a set of tires. He ended up climbing up a big stack of junk and got all the way to rescue his Tyrannosaurus Ralph. But unfortunately, all the junk fell down and he wasn't able to get down from where he was. He was stuck. What a crazy episode. I remember when Ruby and Rusty finally found him, and they were trying everything they could to get him back down. They even went to the magnetic crane to try to get Liam down from the big set of tires. But unfortunately, it was too wide to get through. They couldn't reach him with the magnetic crane. So then Ruby decided to say, let's combine it and design it. And they ended up making the Botosaur. Do you remember that? All right, let's start coloring in her shirt. I'm going to use a nice teal color, just like she wears on the show. But you can use any color you'd like. If you have a favorite color, you can go ahead and use that. Now for her pants. Wow, she's looking really good. All done with Ruby. Now let's start on Rusty. You're going to need a black Crayola crayon or colored pencil so we can start on his hair. Do you guys remember the episode with Rusty's Park and Fly? That was the episode where Rusty and Ruby wanted to go fly planes in the race. So they went to the park, and Mr. Higgins was there showing them about his plane that he had built, and he had the remote control in his hand, and the plane went in the air, and all of a sudden it started losing control, flying around things and crashing and still flying around and making a mess. Man, Ruby and Rusty were so nervous for Mr. Higgins because the race was about to start. They ended up trying to figure out what could go wrong with his plane. So the first thing they did was take a look at his remote control to see if maybe that was the problem, but the batteries looked good there. So then the next plan was to use a grappling hook to shoot it up in the air and grab the plane. But Mr. Higgins didn't like that idea because he was so afraid it would ruin his plane. Then Rusty came up with the idea of using a flying magnet, but that didn't work either. Ruby and Rusty ended up saying, "Let's combine it and design it." And they ended up making the coolest Rescue-matic Power Plane 9000. It was awesome. Rusty was actually the one to drive it. It wasn't even done by a remote control. Rusty got in the pilot seat and Crush got in as the co-pilot. They ended up flying up in the air right next to Mr. Higgins' plane, and he had to try to convince Crush to go change out the broken antenna because that's what was making it lose control. I remember when Crush went out on the limb of the plane, he got really nervous because he didn't want to jump from one plane to the other. But Rusty gave him the confidence boost that he needed to make the jump and to fix the plane. So when he jumped on there, he knocked off the bad antenna and put the new one on, and they both flew down to safety in no time. It was a great episode. Now we're just filling in the details on Rusty's outfit. Adding some orange to his belt. And orange to his sneakers. What color sneakers do you have? I like that color too. I have teal ones like Rusty does. Wow, this design is really coming together. Look at all the details. Now let's start on his pants. Almost finished. What color eyes does Rusty have? They're bright green. You can make his eyes any color you'd like. You could even match them to whatever color you have. Remember, you can be as creative as you'd like. Just a few more finishing touches. Ruby's tablet is normally red, but I'm going to go ahead and coordinate it with Rusty's outfit. That's it. Everything looks great, doesn't it?